The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 2, The Real and the Apparent Man. The Real and the Apparent Man. Lecture delivered in New York. Here we stand and our eyes look forward, sometimes miles ahead. Man has been doing that since he began to think. He is always looking forward, looking ahead. He wants to know where he goes even after the dissolution of his body. Various theories have been propounded. Systems after system has been brought forward to suggest explanations. Some have been rejected while others have been accepted. And thus it will go on so long as the man is here, so long as man thinks. There is some truth in each of this system. There is a good deal of what is not true in all of them. I shall try to play I shall try to place before you the sum and substance, the result of the inquiries in this line that have been made in India. I shall try to harmonize the various thoughts on the subject as they have come up from time to time among Indian philosophers. I shall try to harmonize the psychologist and the metaphysician, and if possible, I shall harmonize them with modern scientific thinkers also. The one theme of Vedant philosophy is the search after unity. The Hindu mind does not care for particular, it is always after general, the universal. What is that? By knowing which everything else is to be known. That is the one theme, as through the knowledge of one lump of clay, all that is of clay is known. So, what is that? Why knowing which this whole universe itself will be known? What is that? By knowing which this whole universe itself will be known. That is the one search. The whole of this universe, according to the Hindu philosophers, can be resolved into one matter, which they called Akash. Everything that we see around us, feel, touch, taste, is simply a differentiated manifestation of this Akash. It is all pervading, it is all pervading fine. All that we call solid, liquid, or gaseous figures, forms or bodies, the earth, the sun, moon, and star, everything is composed of this Akash. That force is it which acts upon this Akash and manufactures this universe out of it. What force is it which acts upon that this Akash and manufactures this universe out of it? Along with Akash exists universal power. All the power in the universe manifests as a force or attraction. Even has thought is but a different manifestation of that one power which the Hindus call pran. This pran acting on Akash is creating the whole of this universe. In the beginning of the cycle, this pran has it where slips in the infinite ocean of Akash. It existed motionless in the beginning. Then arising motion in the ocean of the Akash by the action of this pran, and as this pran began to move, to vibrate out of the ocean, comes the various celestial systems: sun, moon, stars, earth, human beings, animals, plants, and the manifestation of all the various forces and phenomena. Every manifestation of power, therefore, according to them, is this Akash. Every material manifestation is Akash. Every manifestation of power, therefore, according to them, is this Pran. Every material manifestation is Akash. When this cycle will end, all that we call solid will melt away into the next form, and the next finer or the liquid form. That will melt into the gaseous form, and that will finer and more uniform heat vibrations, and all will melt back into the original Akash. And what we now call attraction, repulsion, and motion will slowly resolve into the original Pran. Then this pran is said to sleep for a period, again to emerge and to throw out all those forms, and when this period will end, the whole thing will subside again. Thus, this process of creation is going down and coming up, oscillating backward and forward. In the language of modern science, it is becoming static during one period, and during another period it is becoming dynamic. At one time it becomes potential, and at the next period it becomes active. This alteration has gone on through eternity. At this analysis is only partial. This such has been known. This such has been known even to the modern physical science. Beyond that, the research of the physical science cannot reach. But the inquiry does not stop in consequence. We have not yet found that one by knowing which everything else will be known. We have resolved the whole universe into two components, into what are called matter and energy, or what the ancient philosophers of India called Akash and Pran. The next step is to resolve this Akash and the Pran into their origin. Both can be resolved into the still higher entity, which is called mind. It is out of mind, the Mahat and the universal existence, thought power, that these two have been produced. Thought is a still finer manifestation of being than either Akash or Pran. It is thought that spills itself into this too. The universal thought existed in the beginning, and that manifested, changed, evolved itself into this two, Akash and Pran. And by the combination of these two, the whole universe has been produced. The next comes we next come to the psychology. I am looking at you. The external sensation are brought to Two questions now arise. The first is it possible to realize this? So far it is doctrine, philosophy. But is it possible to realize it? It is. There are men still living in this world for whom delusion has vanished forever. Do they immediately die after such realization? Not so soon as we should think. Two wheels joined by one pole are running together. If I get hold of one of the wheel and with an axe cut the pole with an axe cut the pole asunder, the wheel which I have got hold to stop of stops, but unto but upon the other wheel is its past momentum. So it runs on the little and then falls down. This pure and perfect being, the soul, is the one will, and this external hallucination of body and mind is other will, joined together by the pole of work of karma. Knowledge is X, which will serve the bond between which will serve the bond between two wills of the soul too, and the wheels of the soul will stop thinking that it is coming and going, living and dying, stop thinking that it is nature and has wants and desires, and will find that it is perfect, desireless. But upon the other will, that of the body and mind, will be momentum for of past acts. So it will live for some time until that momentum of past work is exhausted, until the momentum is worked away, and then the body and mind fall, and the soul becomes free. No more is there any going to heaven and coming back, not even any going to Brahmalok or to any of the highest of the sphere, for where is he to come from, and or to go to? The man who has in this highest attend in this life attender to this state, the man who has in this life attend to this state, for whom for a minute at least the ordinary vision of the world has changed and the reality has been apparent, he is called a living free. He is called a living free. This is the goal of the Vedantin, to attain freedom while living. Once in the Western India, I was traveling in the desert country on the coast of the Indian Ocean. For days and days, I used to travel on foot throughout the desert. But it was to my surprise that I saw everyday beautiful lakes with trees all around them and the shadows of the trees upside down and vibrating there. How wonderful it looks! And they call this a desert country. I said to myself, nearly a month I traveled, seeing these wonderful lakes and trees and plants. One day I was very thirsty and wanted to have a clear water, so I started to go to one of this clear, beautiful lake. And as I approached, it vanished. And with a flash, it came to my brain that this is the mirage about which I have read all my life. And with that came also an idea that throughout the whole of this month, every day, I had been seeing the mirage and did not know it. The next morning, I began my march. There was again the leg, but with it came also idea that it was a mirage and not the true leg. So it is with this universe. We are all traveling in this mirage of the world day after day, month after month, year after year, not knowing that it is a mirage. One day it will break up, but it will come back again. The body has to remain under the power of the past karma, and so the mirage will come back. This world will come back upon us so long as we are bound by karma. Man, woman, animal, plant, our attachments and our duties, all will come back to us, but not with the same power. Under the influence of the new knowledge, the strength of the karma will be broken. Its poison will be lost. It becomes transformed. For a long with it there comes an idea that we know it now, that the sharp distinction between the reality and the mirage has been known. This world will not then be the same world as before. There is, however, a danger here. We see in every country people taking up philosophy and saying, I am beyond all the virtues and vice, and so I am not bound by any moral laws. I may do anything I like. You may find many fools in this country at the present time saying, I am not bound. I am God Himself. Let me do anything I like. This is not right. Although it is true that the soul is beyond all laws, physical, mental, or moral, within law is the bondage. Beyond law is freedom. It is also true that the freedom is of the nature of the soul. It is its bright birthright. That real freedom of the soul shines through the wheels of matter in the form of the apparent freedom of man. Every moment of your life you feel that you are free. We cannot live, talk, or breathe for a moment without feeling that we are free. But at the same time, a little thought shows us that we are like machines and not free. What is true then? Is this idea of freedom a delusion? One party holds that the idea of freedom is a delusion. Another says that the idea of bondage is the delusion. How does it happen? Man is really free. The real man cannot be free. It is when he comes into the world of Maya, into name and form, that he becomes bound. Free will be free will is a misnomer. Will can never be free. How can it be? It is only when the real man has become bound that his will comes into existence, and not before. The will of man is bound, but that which is the foundation of that will is eternally free. So even in the stage of bondage, when we all call human life or God life on earth or on heaven, here there at remains to us the recollection of the freedom which is ours by divine right. And consciously and unconsciously, we are all struggling towards it. When a man has attained his own freedom, how can he bound by any law? No law is there this in this universe can bind him, for the universe itself is his. He is the whole universe. Either say he is the whole universe or say that to him there is no universe. How can he have then all these little ideas about sex and about country? How can he say, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a child? Are they not lies? He knows that they are. How can he say that these are men's right and these others are women's right? Nobody has rights. Nobody separately exists. There is neither man nor woman. The soul is sexless, eternally pure. It is lie to say that I am man, I am woman, or to say that I belong to this country or that. All the world in this country, all the world in this country, the whole universe in mine, because I have clothed myself with it as my body. Yet we see that there are people in the world who are really to assert this doctrine and at the same time do things which we should call filthy. And if we ask them why they do so, they tell us that it is our delusion and that they can do nothing wrong. What is the test by which they they are to be judged? The test is there. The test is here. Though evil and good are both conditioned manifested of the soul, yet evil is the most external coating and good is the inner coating of the real man, the self. And unless man cuts through the layer of the evil, he cannot reach to the layer of good. And unless he has passed through both the layers of good and evil, he cannot reach to the self. He who reaches the self, what remains attached to him? A little karma, a little bit of momentum of the past life, but it is all good momentum. Until the bad momentum is entirely worked out and past impurities are eternally burnt, it is impossible for any man to see and realize truth. So, what is left attached to the man who has reached the self and been the truth is the remnant of the good impressions of the past life, the good momentum. Even if he lives in the body and works incessantly, incessantly, He works only to do good. His lips speak only benefit to all. His hands do only good to work. His mind can only think of good thought. His presence in the is a presence is a blessings wherever it goes. He is himself a living being. Such a man will by his very presence change even the most wicked person into saint. Even if he does not speak, his very presence will be present blessing to mankind. Can such men do any evil? Can they do wicked deeds? There is, you must remember, all the difference of pole to pole between realization and mere talking. Any fool can talk, even parrots talk. Talking is one thing and realizing is another. Philosophies and doctrines and arguments and books and theories and churches and sects and all these things are good in their own way. But when that realization comes, these things drop away. For instance, map are good, but when you see the country itself and look again at the map, what is greater you find. So those that have realized truth do not require the ratiocinations of logics and all others gymnastics of the intellect to make them understand the truth. It is to them the life of their lives concretized, made more than tangleable. It is, as the sages of Vedantas say, even as a fruit in your hand, you can stand up and say it is here. So those that have realized the truth will stand up and say, here is the self. You may argue with them by the year, but they will smile at you. They will regard it all as a child prelate. They will let the child prelate on. They have realized the truth and are full. Suppose you have seen a country and another man comes to you and tries to argue with you that that country never existed. He may go on arguing indefinitely, but your only attitude of mind towards him must be to hold that the man is fit for a lunatic asylum. So the man of realization says, all this talk in the world about its little religion is but prelate. Realization is the soul, the very essence of religion. Religion can be realized. Are you ready? Do you want it? You will get the realization if you do, and then you will be truly religious. Until you have attained realization, there is no difference between you and the ethics. Ethics are the ethics are sincere, but the man who says that he believes in religion and never attempt to realize it is not sincere. The next question is to know what comes after realization. Suppose we have realized that this oneness of the universe, that we are the one infinite being, and suppose we have realized that this self is the only existence and that it is the same self which is manifesting in all these various phenomenal forms. What becomes of us after that? Shall we become active, get into a corner and sit down there and die away? What good will it do to the world? That old question in the first place. Why should it go do good to the world? Is there any reason why it should? What right has anyone to ask the question? What good will it do to the world? What is meant by that? A baby likes candles. Suppose you are conducting investigation in connection with some subject of electricity and the baby asks you, does it buy candles? No. You answer. Then what good will it do? Says the baby. So the man stands up and say, what good will this do to the world? Will it give us money? No. Then what good is there in it? That is what men mean by doing good to the world. At religious realization does all the good to the world. People are afraid that when they attend to it, when they realize that there is but one, the fountains of love will be dried up, that everything in life will go away, and that all they love will vanish for them, as it were, in this life and in the life to come. People never stop to think that those who bestowed the least thought on their own individualities have been the greatest workers in the world. Then alone a man loves when he finds that the object of his love is not any low, little mortal thing. Then alone a man loves when he finds that the object of his love is not a cold cloud of earth, but it is the veritable God himself. The wife will love the husband the more when she thinks that the husband is God himself. The husband will love the wife the more when he knows that the wife is God himself. That mother will love the children more you think that the children are God himself. That man will love his greatest enemy who knows that every enemy is God Himself. That man will love a holy man who knows that the holy man is God Himself, and that very man will also love the unholiest of the man because he knows the background of that unholiest of the man is even He, the Lord. Such a man becomes a world mover for whom his little self is dead and the God stands in its place. The whole universe will become transfigured to him. That which is painful and miserable will all vanish. Struggles will all depart and go. Instead of being a prison house where we every day struggle and fight and compete for a morsel of bread, this universe will then be to us a playground. Beautiful will be this universe then. Such a man alone has a right to stand up and say, how beautiful is this world. He alone has a right to say that it is all good. This will be the great good to the world resulting from such realization that instead of this world going on with all its frictions and clashings, if all the mankind today realize only a bit of that great truth, the aspect of the whole world will be changed, and in place of fighting and quarreling, there would be a reign of peace. This indecent and brutal hurry, which forces us to go ahead of everyone else, will then vanish from the world. With it will vanish all struggles. With it vanish all hatred. It will vanish. With it vanish all jealousy. All evil will vanish, and always for away forever. God will live then upon this earth. This very earth will become heaven. And what evil can there be when God are playing with gods? When gods are working with gods and gods are loving gods. That is the great utility of divine realization. Everything that you see in the society will be changed and transfigured then. No more will you think of man as evil, and that is the first great gain. No more will you stand up and sneeringly cast a glance at a poor man or woman who has made a mistake. No more, ladies, will you look down with contempt upon the poor woman who walks the street in the night, because you will see even their God Himself. No more will you think of jealousy and punishment. They will all vanish, and love, the great idea of love, will be so powerful that no whip and cord will be necessary to guide mankind aright. In 1 millionth part of the men and women who live in this world simply sit down and for a few minutes say, you are all God. You no animal, no man, and living beings, and are only living beings. You are all the manifestation of one living deity. The whole world will be changed in a half an hour. Instead of throwing tremendous bombshells of hatred into every corner, instead of projecting current of jealousy and evil thoughts in every country, people will think that it is all he. He is all that you see and feel. How can you see evil until there is evil in you? How can you see the thief unless he is there, sitting in the heart of your heart? How can you see the murderer until you are yourself the murderer? Be good, and the evil will vanish for you. The whole universe will thus be changed. This is the greatest gain of the society. This is the great gain of the human organism. These thoughts were the thoughts out, worked out amongst individuals in the ancient times in India. For various reasons, such as the exclusiveness of the teacher and the foreign conquest, those thoughts were not allowed to spread. Yet they are grand truth, and wherever they have been working, man has become divine. My whole life has been changed by the touch of one this divine man, about whom I am going to speak to my next Sunday, to you next Sunday. And the time is coming when this thought will be cast abroad over the whole world. Instead of living in monasteries, instead of being confined to book of philosophies to be studied only by the learned, instead of being the exclusive position of sect and of a few of the learned, they will all be sown broadcast over the whole world, so that they may become the common property of the saint and the sinner, of the man and the child and the woman, of the learned and of the ignorant. They will then permit the atmosphere of the world, and the very air that we breathe will say with every one of its pulsation, Thou art I, and the whole universe, with its myriads of suns and moon, through everything that speaks with one voice, will say, Thou art thy. Will say, Thou art thy.